Bull has the behemoth with the drum spinning, providing the gravity needed to treat the wounded. But there is one thing everyone wants more than that. Holden. The Martians have him, and that means that there is now something to fight over. Bull believes this is a chance for them to all pull together, but he knows that this is also a moment where it can all fall apart. He tries to persuade the Martians to give him up, but they won't. They can't. Not unless they surrender, which they also can't do. If they get back home, they're going to need to answer for their behavior here, and people might not understand what it's like to compromise in this kind of a situation out here, because it's unimaginable here. The old paradigms don't really fit. This part of the book focuses the players on coming to terms with that, with the consequences of their decision to head through the gate, whether it was Holden thinking that the proto-molecule wanted him to, or everyone else believing that it was so damn important to capture Holden that they risk it. We are, in this place, in the realm of something far beyond our comprehension. Even as far as space goes, this thing doesn't really fit with experience. It is, perhaps, no surprise that Father Cortez, the politically motivated spiritual advisor to the Secretary General, who had proposed that the spiritual leaders support coming through, he's now convinced that he made a horrible error in judgment, and that this is in fact the realm of the devil. The man debating against the ring at the beginning had called it an invitation to sin, to the bemusement of all. But Cortez sees a kernel of truth in that idea, that this place is the heart of all evil. He's likely not alone. Many people look upon this thing with the power to control the laws of physics and will kill them with its changes seemingly on a whim, and see it as something to be feared and hated. When that happens, people can make mistakes, and costly ones. Clarissa has been locked up on the behemoth for her crimes. Bull tries to get her to talk, but she won't. Since they don't have a brig, she's shut up in the pens meant for horses alongside Ashford, who, after Bull leaves, tries to get her to use her implants to get them out. He feeds her obvious lies, like he can get her amnesty on Ceres for her crimes. She's smart enough to ignore him, too. Tilly is the first one that she listens to, who responds to her explanation for her behavior, that her father was a terrible man, undeserving of Clarissa's adoration. She did all this, killed with her bare hands even, to try to cleanse the name that was stained beyond recognition, that was unworthy of being restored. The realization of that, the realization that she crossed a moral event horizon from which there seemed no escape, leaves Clarissa helpless. Tilly pleads with Anna to try to save her, and while Anna tries, Clarissa is finding it hard to accept that she could ever be worthy of such forgiveness for what she's done. This puts Anna in a bind. She believes that she can help Clarissa, but knows the situation is untenable. Resources are going to be scarce quickly, and Clarissa will not only be killed for one less mouth to feed, but probably tossed in the behemoth's recycler to avoid wasting her raw materials. Bull is willing to keep quiet, no doubt to avoid having all that hatred being given a focal point which could get out of hand. But he points out that Holden is the one to worry about, as the crew of the Rocinante knows the score and nearly lost one of their own when Clarissa boarded, and Holden doesn't have a reputation for keeping his mouth shut. Anna visits them, where she's treated as a hero for stopping Clarissa and saving all of their lives. But when Holden learns about it, he refuses. It takes Naomi, when Anna talks about wanting to save Clarissa, that it's possible to go that deep into the red and still come back, to forgive Clarissa. She, like Amos, has a lot of past in her past, and can understand that need. Holden eventually comes around to keeping quiet when it's pointed out that he has the least reason to despise Clarissa and is the only one willing to hold out. It shows Holden's continued flawed nature. He has such a strong sense of moral certitude that it's hard to get through to him sometimes when it's acting up. This, combined with his hubris over the idea that the proto-molecule had chosen him as someone special, helps to knock Holden's ego down a couple of pegs. Of course, Holden hasn't had a great time during all of this either. After being captured by the Martians, he was tossed in a cell, where he got a visit from Miller. Miller explains that the station is spooked by what the ships have been doing, and that's the problem. That's why the slow zone is even slower now. Miller can shut it down, but that's a big concern for two reasons. First, that image Holden saw of the station destroying whole solar systems, that was them fighting an enemy that they lost to. If he shuts down the station, it opens all the locked doors, and there's no way to know whether or not whatever killed off the proto-molecule creators is still around and would come through. The way out may offer a way in. In other words, in a twisted way, Cortez might just be right. They may have taken the first step in awakening the ultimate evil, a devil that could annihilate those with technology that we cannot fathom, at a time when our species is divided and recovering from war. The fear of Venus in the previous book is nothing by comparison to what could potentially be unleashed. Cortez, having already reached that conclusion, decides to take action, forming a cabal with Clarissa and Ashford. Those other two are unlikely to be motivated by religious concerns, but are seeking the same thing nevertheless, a form of redemption. Clarissa put Holden in the position where he had no choice but to enter the ring to survive, and Ashford's decision is what led the human fleet to pursue, to its great ruin. Cortez's plan is a bold one: destroy the ring, and thus cut the place off from Earth forever, and protect humanity from the evil here. If that happened, then it would allow Clarissa and Ashford to justify their past actions. Their decisions would ultimately have led to them destroying the ring and saving our species. For Ashford, that's a matter of pride and nothing more. For Clarissa, that's a matter of living with the horrors of what she's done. Of course, how to destroy the ring if no weapons work in the slow zone? Unfortunately, Bill had come up with a means, though only intended to save lives, not harm anyone or anything. Point communication is done with lasers, and because the behemoth was originally intended to leave the solar system, its laser had to be powerful enough to reach back home. With enough power, it could be used as a weapon. This saved the Martians, as threatening them with their comm laser when they couldn't fight back would allow them to surrender. Hence how Holden got on the behemoth. It was, in a way, very appropriate. The best way to handle our differences, even strong differences, is by communicating, talking to avoid pulling guns. Bull found a way to weaponize talking, and in so doing, brought about peace. Well, for the moment anyway. But Ashford's cabal can use the laser to try to destroy the ring. In their minds, it's the ultimate sacrifice. They all die here to save the world from this place. But the concern among the others is that the station so far has used passive defenses. It's been killing them, but not with the specific intent of killing them. If humans are a threat, the station may decide that destroying our solar system is the only way to defend itself. In other words, the solution may very well cause what they want to prevent. This is especially bad because Miller's second point has been how to save them all, and it's the opposite of this. The station can be shut down once it's not on such high alert, and to do that, cutting the engines, powering down, that's the way to do it. Firing a laser weapon is the opposite of that, and thus more likely to get a serious response even if it doesn't destroy the ring. Bull's not too sure that he can believe what Holden says, or if the proto-molecule is even telling the truth. But in the end, it seems like the play to back, especially since Ashford's plan will likely kill people even if it works as intended. Anna is put into a particularly tough position during all of this, trying to provide comfort to people in the face of the terror of their existence, to be confronted with something that on the one hand is clearly primordial and seemingly all-powerful, while still telling people that God is watching over them even when they are dying in this horrible place. This is, I think, perhaps represented when Holden talks with Miller, because the cell that Holden is locked in is too small for two people to occupy. But Miller is in it with him. Holden realizes this finally and attempts to hold the two thoughts in his head together at the same time. This room is too small for two people, and there are two people in this cell. Miller is telling him to ignore the surroundings, as it makes the process harder for him to talk to him. Anna, in effect, is doing the same thing. For these people, the reconciliation is impossible, and she has been struggling to convince them that God is watching over them, that there is hope, that they can carry this burden and triumph in the end. Don't believe what your senses are telling you. Accept what I'm telling you. And appropriately, what Miller offers to Holden is salvation. But things are coming to a head. Ashford and his cabal are armed, taking out Bull's people and working to take control of the ship. Bull, who is getting around in an exosuit Sam has rigged up for him, is hoping to thwart that with the help of the Rocinante crew. But they need to get every other ship to go along with the powering down part of the plan. That's a key part of the solution, after all. Now, fortunately, Monica Stewart has set up Radio Free Slow Zone to talk to everyone here and try to keep their spirits up. So Bull figures that that's the best way to get the word out there, through her. But getting the word out and getting everyone to go along with it, those are two very different things. It's going to take a lot of convincing, in the face of something that they all consider hell, to relinquish what little power that they do have. To bow down and surrender before a power so much greater than themselves, so that they can be saved. So at Bull's suggestion, Pastor Anna will join Monica to try to convince all of these frightened people that they need to take a leap of faith.